Come here. Come to mommy. Come to mommy. Come on. Hello. Hello, my baby. Hello, my sweet little girl. Okay. Hi. My name is Samara, and this is a video for my series of veganizing Mediterranean food. This month I made sausages. Chorizo, which is a Spanish sausage, and Basturma, which is a Middle Eastern sausage. Basically, the method for both of them is basically the same. It's just the spices that are different. There is something called, a product called seitan. You can actually buy it from the shops, ready-made. But it has a lot of oil and a lot of additives. So I made it myself. And the main ingredient for making seitan is something called vital wheat gluten, which is the gluten that extracted from the flour, from the wheat flour. And it's basically all proteins. So I'm afraid if you are gluten intolerant, then this is not for you. But for most other people, you know, if you're not a celiac or gluten intolerant, it's fine. There is nothing wrong with it. For the chorizo, I added for the color. I added roasted sweet pepper. I used a jar that I bought ready roasted, but if you want, you can roast your own peppers. Blend them. If you don't want to use roasted pepper, you can use tomato paste. Use a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste, but then you will need to add more liquid than I have in the recipe below. For the Basturma, I used is something called 7-spice mix. 7-spice mix is made, I have it written here, is cumin, paprika, coriander, cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, and cardamom. That mix can change to your taste. If you don't like cardamom, remove cardamom. If you want more cardamom, put more cardamom than I do. But if you want to use more, you use more. You do you. The sausages are traditionally made with meat and fat. The chorizo is usually made with pork and pork fat, and the basturma is made with beef and beef fat. Fat, I used tahini. Tahini is sesame seed paste. You can find it in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern shops. You can also find it in health shops. In my experience, the stuff from the health shop is horrible and bitter and thick. The nicest ones are the Lebanese ones, and they come in like a white plastic jar, and they're pourable. The only difference that I would make is probably use more tahini than I have in my recipe. But again, you know, you do you. You want it more fatty, then add more. If you want, you can add oil instead of tahini. Just add some oil that doesn't have a strong taste, so not olive oil. It came out really, really nice, beautiful. I really, really enjoyed them, and I hope you like it. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and press the bell for so that you get notified when I upload a new video. Thank you and hasta luego. Both sausages will have wheat gluten. This is TVP. This is tahini. I'm using the tahini instead of oil because I don't use oil. I'd rather use tahini. If you want, you can substitute it for oil. Lots of garlic, about half a head of garlic for each sausage, and some salt. That's in both of them, and black pepper. Okay. For the Arabic sausage, which is called Basturma, we will also be using 7 spices, and this is cumin. 7 spices is a Middle Eastern mix of spices. Right, the audio has disappeared, so I'm recording this. For the chorizo, I used sweet paprika, cumin, smoked paprika. I used hot smoked paprika, but you can use just the normal smoked paprika. I'm showing you here some basil, but I actually used mixed dried herbs. To show you this earlier, it's a jar and this is the jar of roasted sweet peppers, I'm going to blend and add to which I blended chorizo in the blender. Here and you see it blended, and I use some of that to give the color to the chorizo. So I'm using the TVP here, and I'm adding some hot water to hydrate it, and leave it there for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm adding a cup of gluten, and now the spices and the salt and the garlic. As I said, it's half a head of garlic for each type of sausage. Then I will be removing the TVP from the water. I squeeze. I'm mixing the dry ingredients together. Sorry. And now I'm removing the TVP from the water. I'm squeezing it to get rid of as much water as possible, and then adding the garlic, the tahini, and the water. Now I added the water bit by bit as I needed it, and then I started kneading the dough. You can see that I'm adding a little bit more water. All the measurements are down in the description box, so don't worry about that. I kept on kneading for about 10 minutes. And you really have to knead it for 10 minutes, otherwise it gets very spongy. And be brutal, like knead it hard. I then, after I finished kneading it, I left it overnight in the fridge to marinate. Now I'm showing you how to make the sausages. I made a sausage shape, and I used the sushi mat to make it into a sausage shape. And you really have to I wrapped it with parchment paper, then with aluminium paper. and then steamed it. Once steamed it for 45 minutes. Once it was cool, I just opened the sausages, and you can see me cutting a bit and tasting it. They came out really nice. And then I just stored them in the fridge, and whenever I need them, I kind of take them out and cut a bit to use in whatever I'm making. The Basturma traditionally is eaten with for breakfast with eggs. And the chorizo you can eat on its own, or cook it with pasta or rice or whatever you want. You can see here that how I ate them.